Hey, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Parenting Puzzle Podcast with the incredible Dr. Daniela Owen. So, we are super excited for this podcast today. Laura, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you all?
Great.
I'm
Thank
a
you.
little itchy, but overall I'm doing pretty well. If you found this episode, stay, don't leave because we have some incredible questions from Laura and I know you have a lot of options out there, but stick around because you're going to hear Dr. D's incredible answers to these questions. So don't move, stay where you are, hang out with us for a little bit because we really feel like parenting is hard. We're doing this podcast because we want to help parents, give them the tools and resources that they need to parent just a little bit better. It's still going to be hard, but hopefully at the end of this, you'll learn something and you can take it back to your family. So, Laura, thank you so much for doing this podcast. I know for me, like every time when I hit record, it's still like, and these emotions are good, I think, because it like we're human and we're alive and it's good to feel different feelings. But like when I hit record, I still get like a tad bit nervous and excited about doing the podcast because you care about something, right? So we know it's kind of a different medium and it's something that takes a little bit of vulnerability and bravery. So we appreciate you so much for being brave enough to join us. Me and Dr. D have done about 185 episodes, and it's still something that makes you say, like, all right, let's do this, take a deep breath and let's just go for it. So we appreciate you so much for doing this and being brave. But I'll just start here. Would love to kind of get to know you better, let our audience get to know you just a little bit better. Would you mind sharing kind of who you are, your parenting journey, and we'll take it from there?
Of course. Yeah. So my name's Laura, and I am a mom of three children. I have two sons who are ages 5 and 6, and then a daughter who is 8. And so, if you do the math, I had three kids pretty much within 3 years. So life has been crazy and ever evolving ever since. My parenting journey, I feel like we're at the point where all of our kids are potty trained, they're out of diapers, and so we're kind of into that next phase. Always have questions, always have challenges. And so I'm so excited to be here to meet with you all and go over some of my questions. So
We're excited to have you. We're definitely excited to have you. So you're kind of you're running the zone defense.
I'm running the zone defense. We're outnumbered. I am a working mother as well. So that adds to the chaos. We're in the midst of summer. So definitely ready for school to be back in session, but we're surviving.
I,
Awesome.
I feel you. So we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Part of why we do this, or the main, like the genesis behind us doing this podcast, is to get really good information out there for parents, right? And I feel like if you have a question, right, there's probably thousands of other parents out there that have a similar question. And I probably have the same question because just like you, I'm a struggling parent that just tries to like not mess up my kids every single day. So that's why I get so much out of co-hosting this podcast with Dr. D because she's absolutely incredible in every way that somebody could be incredible. So I'll turn it over to you. You have a question. I want to give you. I want to make sure you get the forum to ask it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my middle child, he is 6, and he's always been our best sleeper, from day one, our most consistent sleeper. But the topic is about fears. So over the last month or so, my husband have been noticing he's been waking up more often, saying he's scared of the dark, scared of his bedroom, resistant to
Mhm.
go back to sleep. And so totally out of the norm. And so wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the best way to manage or tips how to help him feel comfortable and secure in his room.
Yeah. And are there specific fears that he's sharing, or it's just kind of a general
It's
feeling of
more it's more
scary? Okay.
general. Yeah, and so we'll often find ourselves saying at, 2 in the morning, "What exactly are you scared of?" Sometimes it's the dark, but oftentimes I'm just scared of my room. I'm scared to sleep by myself.
Mm.
Again, really out of the norm for him, but it's been kind of hard pinpointing, what exactly it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's start lightest touch and go to heavier touch in terms
Yep.
of my suggestion. So the first is just consider so just consider changing the environment a little bit to start. So if he's scared of the dark, I'm not sure if you have some kind of night light or light in there, but I would actually encourage you, if you have a nightlight, to actually take him to go pick one out. So one of the things that's happening when he's waking up in the night is he's probably feeling a little out of control. So trying to give him some more sense of control around bedtime might actually help with reducing some of his fear and feeling a sense of confidence around bedtime. And you said it's waking up, it's not falling asleep. That's the
Yeah,
challenge, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. And so this is the hard part, right? Because there's a little less control around waking up feeling afraid. And also just know that it's totally normal for kids to go through periods of nightmares. And so he might also
Right.
be waking up because he's having scary dreams and then feeling scared and then like thinking he's scared of his environment, but it
Right.
might be starting with something that's happening during sleep. So again, the more you can make that environment feel safe and comfortable and give him some autonomy around that. And so
Okay.
it can be little small things like, do we want to change the sheets and get you some super brave sheets that are going to help you feel comfortable in the night? Or do we want to get you like some stuffy that's going to be there, that's going to be your like cuddle, so when you wake up and you're feeling scared, like that stuffy is just going to be there for you to cuddle with and help you calm down. You can also teach him some strategies to help him calm down when he wakes up, right?
Okay.
So the problem is that sometimes happens is the wake ups can sometimes unintentionally get reinforced, meaning it's going to increase the likelihood of it happening the next time because there might be something positive happening there. So what we know from parenting work with littles is the less interaction you can have during that wake up, the better it actually is.
Okay.
Right? So trying to kind of get him back to sleep with fewer words, fewer interactions. So why are you scared? Don't worry about it. Just, oh, I can see that you're scared. Okay, let's do a few deep breaths. Let me rub your back. Let's get, Mr. Cuddles in here for a cuddle. And really just trying to get back to him feeling like you can handle this. And so you don't want to promise, nothing bad is ever going to happen because you can't promise that, but you can handle this. I believe in you. I know you can get yourself back to sleep. Oh, I'm sure it was just a scary feeling. And I know you can handle that scary feeling and actually get back for a good night's sleep. So that's the encouragement that I would be asking you to try, like start with. That's the light touch. If you're finding that it's really kind of getting bigger and growing, and that those little changes by giving him some, like power and autonomy in setting up his room and the things that are going to help him feel more comfortable in the middle of the night when he wakes up, if those aren't working, and he's 6, so maybe even like a book by his bed that he loves, but like a really funny, silly, happy book. So nothing adventurous or exciting, no pirates or superheroes, like really something silly and cutesy, even like kind of a baby book that he loved when he was a baby. Let's put this here so you could look at it in the night. So those kinds of things give him the power to be in control when he's feeling scared. And that can be the thing that's going to help him feel more confident. If that's not working, there is this great book called What to Do When You Dread Your Bed. And Jake will help me put the links in the comments. So What to Do When You Dread Your Bed talks in more detail it's a workbook for kids, and it talks in more detail about strategies for handling sleeping, falling asleep, nighttime awakenings, and all of that. And then an even sort of heavier, more comprehensive touch is something called the Bedtime Box from Confident Kids HQ. And the creator of this, actually, I promise I'm getting no money for any of these, but the creator of this had me just go ahead and look over her materials and consult on it to make sure from a psych standpoint, everything was totally according to gold standards. So it's an amazing resource, the Bedtime Box. And it really, really can help kids with any type of bedtime, falling asleep, staying asleep, any kind of bedtime fears. And so again, it's Confident Kids HQ that puts out the Bedtime Box. And that would be another great resource. So start small. If it's not working, you've got some other places to go to kind of keep building on. And it's probably just a stage also. But that doesn't say you shouldn't intervene. But just kind of from a parenting standpoint, just remember, like, this will pass. This will pass.
I know.
Deep breath.
Dr. D, it's so funny we're talking about that because just last night, my 3-year-old was saying he was afraid to go to bed. So, like, I have a feeling, Laura, that you're not the only person that's dealing with this challenge.
I know. And we've dealt with it with all of our kids at different times and stages. And so I really like that feedback. just great to hear things I can do immediately and then have some resources to fall back on too if I
Yes.
need,
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yes. And one of the hardest parts about sleep related things is then it interrupts parents' sleep, right? So then we're
Yes.
tired and
Oh,
grouchy and they're tired. It's just hard. So I just want to say I can totally sympathize with what you're going through. But
yeah.
check out these different options and see,
Yeah.
you can just keep building on as you need to see what works.
Excellent. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I'm just curious. You said something about like you want to like so when they wake up and they're scared,
Mhm.
right? You're saying like you want to put them like you want to have as little interaction as possible. Why?
Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, the more interaction they have, the more awake they're going to get. And so the more
Mhm.
awake we get, like think about when you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you're kind of like half asleep and you go to stumble to the bathroom, you get back into bed, you fall back up in bed quickly. If you turn all the lights on when you're going to the bathroom and, wash your hands for 10 minutes, like you're going to be awake by the time you get back in bed. It's going to be harder to fall back asleep because you've
Makes
gotten to
sense.
a more awake state. So the more you interact and talk, turning all the lights on, that kind of thing, the harder it is going to be to kind of slide back into sleep. So that's one reason. The other one is if unfortunately it becomes like a thing in the night where there's a lot of attention and a lot of soothing and a lot of interaction, that could be unintentionally reinforcing, meaning like that can feel good. And so they're going to kind of call parents in and have that 20-minute interaction. That's why you want to keep it brief and you want to keep the interaction low so it's not more
Right.
awakening and not more encouraging of staying awake.
Because they're wanting that attention at that point.
Yeah, and not even necessarily like at a conscious level, just like it feels soothing, it feels good. They're
Mhm.
feeling scared, so they want you to stay. They want as much from you as they can get. And so just kind of keeping it really simple and quiet and not highly interactive is going to make that less of a sort of positive interaction. And we don't want it to be a positive, fun interaction because we want to get them back to sleep so they can maximize their sleep because it's so important for them.
And also, we want to get back to sleep.
Yes.
Right, Laura? We need a little bit.
I know, I know. It's one of those things. Sometimes I say I feel like I haven't slept in 8 years. You know what I mean? But I think that's just part of the journey, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
I think kids, they should have like a label on kids when you have them sleep deprivation upcoming. You know what I mean? Because I think
That's
it's
true.
like, it's, yeah, I had both of my kids up at one point last night. So I feel your pain.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people in the audience that have the same question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good one. I'll turn it back over. Any other questions?
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, so on the topic of fears, there was another question kind of related to fears
Yeah.
that I was thinking about over the course of this summer with my youngest, who's 5, my other son, and it has to do with summer camp and the transition from home to drop off. And so something that we've noticed with him somewhat frequently this summer is that, well, particular the camps he's going to without his other 2 siblings. About half of the summer, he would be at camp without his siblings, and he would cry at the door, not want to go in, and we'd actually have to pick him up and put him in,
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes I would just try to escape, sometimes I'd try to soothe him, but any tips to just make that type of morning transition smoother? And that
Yes.
can probably go for camp, for school. But it was really a struggle. And then, of course, as a working parent, I leave just feeling defeated and sad and, just
Mm,
unsure of what to do.
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally. Absolutely. That can be super hard. And
Hmm.
one of the things that can be really tricky with summer is that sometimes the camps are like different each week. So there's just a lot of transitions, right?
Yep.
There's almost by the time you get comfortable and used to it, it's on to a different camp,
Right.
potentially different
Yep.
counselors or teachers and kids and activities. And so it just creates a lot of transitions. And
Right.
that is in and of itself tricky. So absolutely. One follow-up question. Do you happen to know if once you left and he kind of got into the day, was he feeling happier or was he kind of sad the whole time?
He was fine.
Okay.
They would always tell me, it's a quick, quick feelings, and then he's on to his day. And then typically, this would happen kind of at the first 1 or 2 days of the week, and then from the rest of the drop-offs would be good. But it's like
Yeah.
going back like to the weekend and then starting over
Yeah.
again with the same type of behavior.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I do think some of the uncertainty and the newness is
Yeah.
probably a factor. And you even
Yeah.
mentioned not having siblings there. So that
Yep.
adds another layer of
Right.
uncertainty.
Yep.
So when things are uncertain, I mean, life is uncertain. We have to be able to learn how to tolerate uncertainty. And the more we practice, the better we get at it and the more it sets us up for success. So know that even though this was like uncertainty boot camp for your little, in a way you were actually equipping him with a life skill. So know that, take that away. That's a good thing for you to kind of keep in mind as mama. But the other thing to think about is when things are really uncertain, there are two things we can do that can really help kids with managing the discomfort of uncertainty. One is getting as certain as you can. So, okay, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we know where the camp is. If it's a new place, like drive by, check it out if you can. If you know who's going to be in the camp, even trying to touch base with them ahead of time, maybe even like a quick weekend play date to get them excited about the camp. If it's an activity that's kind of new, just learning about it, like going to the library. My kiddo's in like secret ops spy camp this week. So go to the library and get a fun book on spy. Oh, this is what secret ops is, right?
That sounds so fun, by the way.
It does sound really
Can I
fun.
go to that camp,
It
please?
does sound really fun. I hear you. I know. I was having the same thought. But that anything you can do to make the uncertain or unfamiliar a little bit more familiar and raise points in certainty. The other thing you can think about is manufactured ways that you can create certainty. So picking out the night before what you're going to wear for camp if there's no uniform. So you kind of like know, okay, this is what you're going to wear. And what are you going to bring with you? And what, if you pack lunch, like what are we going to pack in your lunch? So any elements of certainty that you can bring if the camp lets you bring objects with you, like bring a little, we call it a transitional object, bring something from home that feels really comfortable and is fun to play with, and actually introduce that to the council, like, oh, here's my child, and you know, here's our favorite like Super Mario's fan thingy, light up fan thing. That's something that my kid brought to camp today. So just like, and like we love playing with this, and can we show the other friends? And that's also the transitional object can also help with meeting and interacting with new kids, because then they can actually bring that over and like, oh, the counselor, oh, that's so cool. Thank you for bringing the Super Mario fan. Let's show your friend over here the Super Mario fan. He's wearing a Super Mario shirt. And so like there are sometimes ways to kind of connect the dots and bring him into the folds that can sometimes help with a little bit lessening of the distress. The one thing, you know, we might be tempted to do that often doesn't work great is like, if he is having a better second half of the week, pointing out like, see, everything's fine. You're going to love it. It's going to be just like last week. Kind of actually from the other angle, like, oh, you know, this is going to be a new week. So it might actually feel kind of tough in the beginning and feel a little new and different. And I feel confident, just like the last 3 weeks, by the time you get used to it, I have a feeling you're really going to like it. Right. And so kind of like, actually, it's okay to say that it's been tough and actually predict it. And so when it's feeling uncomfortable or he's feeling a little fear, you're kind of validating, and you had already expected that. And, you know, as parents, we just want our kids, we just want to get them to the good as fast as possible.
I know.
Right.
I know.
So like, it's going to be great. Remember last week? It was great. And so the more we can actually spend a minute in the, like, it's probably going to be hard at first. And like, I get it. Right. That actually then when it does feel hard creates a match, and it kind of like lets them feel like that's okay to feel that way. And you know, if you say, oh, I can see you're hesitating, yeah, I get it, it's a new week with new kids, I totally understand, different activity, it feels a little different, that's okay, I know you can handle it, I believe in you. That kind of language is going to boost them up, right? But also like allow them to have it be hard. And then, you know, for you, it's like, that's okay. This is what we were expecting. It also helps for the parents being like, this is what we were expecting, and this is what's happening, right?
It's so true, because, you know, this morning I was like, oh, for sure, he's not going to be upset. You know what I mean? Like, this is week 5 at this camp, but sure enough, he was. And so I think having that mindset and that approach is super helpful. And he's going to be starting a new school for kindergarten this year. So some of these tips I'll also be able to apply to that transition. So amazing.
Cool. Great questions. And as Jake pointed out, like such great questions, because so many families are having very similar challenges. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing these to our audience.
Of course.
Dr. D, so it's basically like validating the emotion and encouraging.
Exactly.
Is that like the process? Like, hey, I understand this emotion is real. I totally get it, but let's encourage you with like the past. Like, hey,
Yeah.
last week we had a similar thing and it turned out well, right? Is that
Yeah,
makes
I
sense?
believe
Makes a
in
lot
you.
of
I
sense.
know you can. I know you can handle it. I know once you get a little bit more used to it, it's probably going to turn out to be pretty cool and pretty fun.
Yeah,
I
makes
like it.
sense.
I like it.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense. Dr. D, are you ready for the last word?
I'm ready.
Of course you are. You're always ready.
I try to be ready.
Yeah, I'm just never ready to actually click the button, but here we go.
So for the last word, where we kind of summarize what we've talked about today, the theme was fear, but fear can happen in kids in all different ways, and it can show up at different times. It can show up in the middle of the night with bedtime awakenings. It can show up with transitions to new activities. And so the things we want to do is really empower kids in these moments so that they feel confident in themselves. Fears are real. They're a part of life. We as adults have them. And so in terms of sleep or awakenings, if your child is waking up in the night, start by changing the environment a little. If they're saying they're afraid of the dark, figure out a way to make it a little lighter and let them pick the light source. Obviously, you can't pick like a floodlight, but let them pick the little nightlight you're going to add to the room, or some, glow stick creature that they're going to create in the corner. And also see if you can get them something that they can rely on to help for comfort. And if they can kind of help themselves comfort initially, that can be really, really empowering for kids. As far as transitions go, if kids are having a hard time with new camps or new schools, just being able to recognize and acknowledge that that's a really typical thing for kids to experience, and you totally allow them to have those feelings. But if there are parts of the circumstance that you can create certainty around, I would encourage you to do that. So things that they can depend on, if it's a camp and an activity that they don't know, learn a little bit about that activity. Look at pictures online of the camp, or look at a book that kind of talks about the thing that they're going to be doing in the camp, and plan things that they can depend on, like foods they're going to have in their snack or things that they're going to wear, so that they have a little bit of certainty as they're transitioning to this new uncertain time.
Laura, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. Parenting's hard. We want to get some useful tips out there. And Dr. D is probably the best in the world. Not probably, she is the best in the world in giving those tips. So that's why this podcast will eventually go viral, probably in the next 2 weeks. So if you haven't,
Jake is my number one fan.
Yes, I'm our hype man. So if you haven't already, please, if you like the content, please find Dr. D on YouTube, find her on Instagram, find her on Facebook, go to her website and buy all of her books. She also has new books coming out soon. If you like the podcast, the Parenting Puzzle Podcast with Dr. Owen, you can find it on YouTube, both of our YouTube channels. You can find it on Apple Music. You can find it on Spotify, almost anywhere you get podcasts. Go find it, listen, and I feel like you're going to get something really good out of it. We're also putting clips on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We love putting this information out there and helping parents, but we need some support. So please, they said, Dr. D, they said you got to ask for the support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please support us.
Yeah, we're asking for the support. Please like it, share it, put it out there to all your friends, your aunties, your uncles, your sisters, your brothers, everybody that has kids. Go ahead and send it to them. But Laura, thank you so much. You're amazing. We're going to bring you back again, and everybody have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review. It really helps us out and lets others discover the show.